Back to dignity, that's the call of the day. Where purpose hits different and hope finds its way. Investing in people and helping folks win at life. Turning struggle into power, turning pressure into light.
Welcome to another podcast. I have Cliff with me today. We're going to talk about the topic of burnout as it has to do with the healthcare industry. Cliff, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
How was your morning, by the way? Tell me what's up.
Well, it started at about 2:30.
2:30 this morning? Oh, that's early. I'm thinking it's 2:30. Yesterday, 2:30 or 2? Okay.
Yeah. My son woke up a few times.
Okay.
I got him back to bed, and I knew like I have to get here today. I need to be on time. I need to have these things ready.
Right.
And I locked my keys in my car.
You locked your keys in the car.
I couldn't find my spare set. And then I couldn't find the keys to my truck that I rarely drive.
But you still got here on time, though.
Still got here on time. Use my pilot's license.
Oh, okay. I see. Now, were you stressed about today, or tell me about yourself? Were you a little stressed? Were you kind of tell me how you felt coming into today?
I've been looking forward to getting back and doing this podcast for so long.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I shout out to my friends and family. I'm like, hey, this is what's going to take place. It's been a minute. Sent them some of the previous shorts and videos that we've done. So yeah, just
It's a big deal, man.
it is.
I'm over here just chilling, like it's just part of the day, And I know our viewers want it more. And well, hey, I apologize.
Yeah,
We're back.
absolutely,
We're back.
absolutely. But in the end, everything worked out. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about burnout, Cliff. In the healthcare field, this is give me how does burnout look? Does it mean does burnout mean that you can't handle the job anymore? You're not strong enough to finish it? What is burnout? How is it looking at when it comes to healthcare?
Well, I'll tell you what it looks like for me because obviously it varies.
Right.
You have various life circumstances. Uh, people could be going through issues with their kids, with their spouses.
Right.
You could have an extremely demanding day
Yep.
at work.
Life is happening, right?
Absolutely, you could be dealing with parents.
Right.
And that's kind of what I had. My son, my mom was living with me for about a period of 2 years. Her health started to decline. I had some surgery myself, so I'm trying to
I
recover
see.
from it.
For you, defining health,
Yeah.
I think your son has a
Yeah.
developmental
You
disability.
know, still trying to spread myself between everyone else that's in the family.
And were you working as well? I had a job or no?
I had a job, but I was on FMLA for my knee surgery.
Okay.
But that was the only thing that kind of changed,
Hmm.
and and it seemed like my mom and my son were on the same cycle of waking up. Like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 2, and when I'm about to go back to sleep, you wake up.
Ooh, that's rough.
I know they didn't have it planned, but
That's rough.
it sure seemed that way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more demand that just placed on the household in general. If you take that, you throw in your job, whatever it is that you're doing. I was in healthcare. You can have some bad days.
Of course.
I was particularly working in hospice, which is challenging in itself.
What is hospice for the audience? What is hospice?
So hospice is a service that's provided for members who are. uh, It's not the end of the road, but they may have a terminal illness or the particular illness that they have, if it continues to progress as expected, they have a life expectancy of less than 6 months.
Okay, so hospice doesn't mean that you're about to die.
No, no.
Okay, 'cause I think that's what I thought before. I thought hospice means you're going to die very, very soon. That's why you're here.
Now, in some cases, that does happen,
Mhm.
but it's not a reason for the member or the families to just give up. And it can feel that way. And there's a misconception about that. As we go in and talk to patients, like, hey, I'm from this hospice company. We're going to evaluate you for this. And they have that same mindset, like, oh, I'm not ready to go on hospice.
Interesting.
kind of explain. There's benefits. There's a lot of benefits to being a hospice patient.
Like what? What are the benefits?
If equipment. I'm not sure how much it costs to rent a hospital bed.
Probably expensive.
It's fairly
Probably thousands, probably in the thousands, assuming,
but that's something that you can get various equipment. Some of your medications that are related to your particular condition
Mhm.
are covered.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
It's a classification. Maybe health insurance classification hospital. That means these medicines
Yeah.
open to you now with a certain type of I don't know authorization to use the medication.
Well,
Kind of like that.
not so much authorization, but let's say that you had cancer. There's if there's certain drugs out there for that that may be covered,
I see.
less that you have to pay, and then comfort meds.
I
So
see. So things become available to you
yeah,
based on your diagnosis or where they have you placed.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So that can cut down on cost. That can cut down on stress for individuals. And then you'll get a visit from a nurse. You get a visit from a CNA that will come out and bathe you and things of that nature. So that takes a little stress off the family.
Interesting. Interesting.
You have access to a social worker and a chaplain should you choose, and then you'll have a dedicated doctor, which is like our would be our medical director, who's managing your care.
I see. Okay. Continue with your story. So you said mom was living with you. Your son's waking up. They kind of had the schedule where they had you up. To, you wasn't able to get much sleep. Continue with some more of that because when I'm listening to you, Cliff, I'm thinking the household stress.
Yeah.
You got your family because again, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. If I have my mom with me, have my son, have my wife, have my other kids, have my job. I just went through surgery. I'm looking at how my life probably would be in that period of time. I know I'll be stressed for sure, without a doubt, for certain I'll be stressed. How would I handle that stress? Well, if I had knee surgery, I can't go and work out typically, unless I'm just going to do upper body. Maybe I would want to go and do that. But I'm probably not, enjoying much of anything unless there's some sports going on TV or something like that. Um, and then you sound like you're maybe sleep deprived. And then we know how our mind can work when you sleep deprived. I mean, you're definitely not. I know I'm not myself. So I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead with
I,
burnout.
I think for me, so the the one the main thing that was the thing that was consistent was our son. So we're like used to him not sleeping the greatest, getting up. So that was still the norm.
Right.
Just adding in my mom, initially when she arrived, she was still capable. She was still ambulatory. She still cared for herself. If she wanted to get in there and help cook,
That's nice.
help
Hey,
clean.
it's all about so.
But we're also talking about someone who was 94.
Oh, really?
Yes.
94 still getting up, cooking and cleaning, really?
Yeah, still getting up.
Man,
Cleaning.
strong.
She was actually the caregiver of her baby sister for a number of years when she lived in Maryland. And then, unfortunately my aunt passed away. But I was trying to get my mom to come live with me easily a decade.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
Like home space. Like what?
yeah.
What took so long?
Her church family was there. She still had siblings, family. She was comfortable
Yeah.
in her environment. So, moving here, there's a lot of elements that change. Your that church family is no longer there. Although people they would keep in touch, which was great.
Right.
But no, it's a lot to give up.
It
And
sure is.
she had done that once before when our son was much younger. He was almost 3. I'd moved to California, didn't know anybody, and I asked my mom. I was like, hey, could you give me like a couple of months? Maybe we can try to find a babysitter or a caregiver. Mom's old school. She's like, baby, I need to talk to some folks.
That's beautiful.
I need to pray about it.
Yeah.
So I left it alone. You left it alone. And she called me out of the blue one day. She's like, I'll come stay with you for a year.
Oh wow.
and that year turned into 5 years.
Wow. See, that's beautiful, Cliff. Like I said, you're a very blessed man. You have your mom that can come out to a whole other country from Maryland, from the East Coast,
Hmm.
all the way to California, far west.
Never flown.
Never. How does she? Oh, that's her first time flying. If she gets there. Oh yeah, by herself. She flew by herself.
She flew by herself, and we had it
Oh
where she got
man.
like an aid and all that. But
Oh, that's beautiful.
I think her luggage got lost. It wasn't the greatest flying experience for her.
But she did it because of you and your family.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us more about your mom. So she's in a situation. She's living with you. How old? She was 94 when she came to live with you.
Yes.
All right, and then tell us more about her
Sure.
and the care that you provided.
Okay. Well,
Mm.
just a little bit about my mom. Born in the 1927. Uh, my dad was born a year later. Uh, my parents started dating at 15. They got married at 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think they had just celebrated their like 43rd or 44th anniversary the week before my dad passed away.
Oh, wow.
So he would have turned 71, passed away from congestive heart failure.
Mm.
So, you hear about, people have been together forever. One passes away, and a lot of times it doesn't take long before the other one.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
So I'd say for 2 years,
Man.
anytime the phone rang at night time, it was like, well, this is it. But I got 24, 25 additional years.
Beautiful.
This was during a time where neither one of my parents finished high school. They both had large families and they had to take care of families. Um, Family driven, uh, God fearing,
Mm-hmm.
um, just
Mm-hmm.
I don't. People use this term a lot, like salt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many qualities,
Wow.
and maybe I'm being biased, but there were so many qualities that my parents had that I didn't entirely pick up.
Mhm. Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Literally, I mean, my parents would uh, shirt off your back type of
You're
people
not like that kind of person?
to an extent,
Mm.
but I have my limit. With my with my parents, it's like if you need it and we have it, you could probably get
And how are you? If you needed them, let me hear from you.
it. It's situational.
Let me think about it.
Depends. It depends on the person. It depends. Have we been down this road before?
I see.
But
That makes sense.
but again, my parents were kind of like, hey, um, we have it. There's no reason why we shouldn't
Wow.
give because they felt they weren't lacking of anything.
Good. It's a blessing.
Absolutely. So that's probably something too.
Blessing.
I remember like
Mm.
decades ago when the lottery got up to some crazy amount.
Mm.
At this time it was like 90 million.
Right. Now it's crazy, like almost a billion. It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. So I happened to be home. I was in the Air Force, and I'm just talking to my parents. I'm like, "What would you do if you won $90 million?" My mom said, "Well, we'd probably get your dad a new used truck,
A new used truck.
and I'd
Oh,
get some dresses." Like, Mom, it's 90
90 million, right?
Now I know that's not the case, but I'm like, it's 90 million. You spent what 20 at best.
20,000, not 20 million, 20,000. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, at most, yeah.
um, level of contentment,
Wow.
I think I can only hope to achieve. So that was something that I loved.
Yeah.
Dad was a protector. Um, Mom, she kind of did it all. My dad was a truck driver. So it was my mom that was taking me to my baseball games, football games, school plays. And on the weekend, that was my dad's time, but he'd still doing things around the house, trying to get a little bit of me time in. And I remember the first time he came to one of my baseball games. meant the world,
Mm.
absolute world. Um, but my mom was strong.
Right.
We're in a time period where sometimes it's about titles. It's about the amount of money you have in the bank, the house you live in.
The school your kids go to, the school you live in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
My parents, their second home,
Hmm.
they had built. And I remember going through some papers after my dad had passed away. Their very first house cost less than $20,000.
They paying cash, I'm assuming.
No,
Well, okay, I'm asking because back in that day,
right?
I'm not sure how prevalent or how available loans were.
Mhm.
That's what I'm asking you because a lot of people couldn't get loans.
Yeah.
And then America was set up differently. It wasn't really a credit or debt written society. People kind of pay cash for their homes.
Well, this is during a time that I think my dad had sufficient enough income, but he required. I don't want to get the story wrong, but he required the backing of someone else.
Second,
Someone else a little bit more prominent
like
in
co-signer. What do you mean?
I
Just say it.
it was a co-signer, but it was someone that my dad worked for that was prominent in the community. That was like, he is good for.
Or like somebody had to vouch for him.
Yes.
Was that necessary, or was that necessary back in this day we're talking about?
I don't know if it was necessary. That's the story that I was told, and until he got that backing, it
Wow.
wasn't seem like it was going to go.
Interesting.
So very modest. Um, less than 1,000 square feet.
Wow, it's all good, man.
Yeah, 960 square feet to be exact.
But that's a lot of love in there, right? A lot of love, yeah.
Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. So, uh, so that's kind of like my parents. They were kind of on the same page about a lot of things, especially with is value wise.
Yeah, that's how relationships typically last, right? You get on the same page, and especially like the top three areas that I'm aware that husband and wife need to be on is agreeing on money, like money matters. Agreeing how they're going to handle in-laws and family members, especially in-laws, and probably agreeing how they're going to raise their kids.
Yeah.
It's probably some of the main value systems that they need to share in common there. Um, I'm gonna ask you real quick. I know you said that with your parents, they had values that they instilled in you, but they really had them more so than you do. That's kind of what you're saying, right? And when you said that, I'm thinking like our society has changed so much since your parents were growing up. They were born in 1927. I think you said that 1928. I think that's what you said. Now we're in a 2025, so that'll be 2026. So we're talking a whole another century. That's a century ago, right? 100 years. So you said that they had values where if somebody needed something, they would get, and they had it, they would give it to them.
Yes.
I just know things change so much in our society where you do have to now have a coping skill or a level of protection for yourself and your family, where you got to practice good judgment as to what you were saying. Have you been down this road before with this person? Did I lend to them before? And did they pay back?
Right.
Did they pay back on time? Did they just ignore me? Did they act like they didn't remember? So, those kind of things kind of evolve, right? Maybe back in the day in 1927, you gave somebody something, you gave it to them. Prices were cheaper. I'm assuming things were, 5 cents, 10 cents, 2 cents. It's a lot cheaper.
Right.
Today, especially in America where things are, really expensive. I don't want to say overpriced, but very, very expensive. Uh, if you lend something out, you pretty much need it back. It's not necessarily given to you as a gift. It's like I need that back because I got to do X, Y, Z. I got a family as well. So I'm not saying you beat yourself up, but things evolve. We're talking about a century ago to now, right?
Yes.
And things are way more complex in this country. And I know in other countries, things, not all other countries, but some other countries, things seem to be a little more simpler, uh, where they can still, lend things out or give things out because the price of living may not be, to the ceiling. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But continue. Your mom, you're talking about her. She's living with you. Did you did you provide any care for her? That kind of situation. Again, we're talking burnout here. I kind of want to get into that.
Yeah, as my mom became older and her health started to decline, definitely a lot more care that was needed. Um, as you would imagine, towards the end, she needed assistance where she could no longer walk with the walker by herself. I'd have to be by her.
Okay.
It eventually progressed where walking to the bathroom was just too far, even though it was her bedroom was here and the full bath was just outside her door. But that became a struggle.
Right.
She
You helped her with all that.
yes, helped her with bathing, um, feeding, because there was a point where she couldn't maneuver the spoon or the fork to her mouth without spitting the content. But I got to spend a lot more time with my mom than expected. Granted, it took a long time for her to come here, and the relationship that she kind of had with my kids was, on the phone. So it was nice when she finally came here. She's living in the house,
Right.
and they're building that relationship. She absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Um, my son, he loved it. He acted in a certain way
Wow.
versus when she was healthy,
Right.
as opposed as when her health started to decline. And
Mhm.
I'll touch on that. Um, uh, our daughter, not really knowing what to do. Like, I know this is she calls her grandmother because she has another grandma. Um, she would interact, but it was missing something. We're talking you talk on the phone for years, but you haven't really had that face to face. So there's probably some feelings or emotion that may have been missing, or just my daughter was just unsure. But
Mhm.
she still interacted. When we celebrated her 95th and 96th birthday, was great. Had some family and friends come over, but still just strong, God fearing, um, and fiercely independent.
I can hear that. I can hear
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
But tell me, Cliff, did you ever feel overwhelmed?
Yes, there were definitely times that I felt overwhelmed. A lot of it, due to somewhat lack of sleep.
Mm.
Um, you know, wanting to spend time with everyone in the family and not taking a lot of the time. Before I had my knee surgery, it was a lot easier. But what also made it easier is that I'd had the same surgery on the opposite knee
Mm.
just before my mom came. So, second time around, I knew what to expect, and so I could kind of manage that. I think one of the funniest things, we just happened to be at the home alone once.
You and your mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
And my mom had called out because I think she needed to go to the bathroom or something.
Mm.
So I'm hobbling down the steps carrying my walker. Finally get down the steps, so she has her walker. So it's like the walk of the elephant.
That's kind of funny. That's
It is.
funny.
She's walking with her
Oh
walker.
man.
I'm walking with mine, and I'm like, okay, if I put my walker up against her backside, maybe I can somewhat break her fall. I know realistically, it probably wouldn't have worked that way.
That you trying to figure it out,
That's what I'm
right?
trying to figure out. And I think back now, had anybody seen that? Oh, they just probably put their mind just laughing. We made it work. It was hard to see her decline. Um, but I was seeing it every day. So for me, it was gradual. But I noticed the weight loss, the decline in her activity, the decline in her appetite. But she loves her ice cream. Loved ice cream and tea.
Any specific flavor of ice cream?
Vanilla.
Figured.
That's
That's the most popular.
that's it.
Just vanilla ice cream.
Had to be vanilla. So
Yeah, very beautiful.
And it got to a time where she wasn't eating a lot. Like she wants some ice cream, and she'd light up.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Very nice.
so I had a towards the very end, and I was it's like about 2 weeks I said she had like a life expectancy left,
Mhm.
and
You said 2 week life expectancy left.
yeah, it was, and it it wasn't based on like something that the doctor said. It's just kind of like just based on my experience. The other medical professional that was in the home. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, so uh, she had a really good week prior to her passing, and I got on the phone and called some relatives so they could talk to her. And she was witty. She was witty. She was laughing. She remembered remember people's names, and it was such a great day.
Mm.
Um, one of her nephews came. My mom's never said this, but I think it might have been her favorite nephew. Like he would always come home to Maryland and visit my mom and take care of her, as well as my aunt. He'd take him out to eat. He was spoiled, and he came out to see her. And like I said, I'd seen these changes daily for months. And he came and he was taken aback because the last time that he seen her, she was walking, these things, and she had lost so much weight that he took it in stride,
Mm-hmm.
but it definitely caught him off guard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that he came out. They had a great time together. They sang some of their favorite hymns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's kind of how like the last 2 weeks were.
Mm-hmm.
There've been some church songs that I probably hadn't heard and or sung forever, and putting on YouTube to play, and I'm singing to my mom, and she would join in. I'm like, Mom, do you know this song? She's like, well, if I could hear it.
Right. Oh, okay, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Well, why do you think your mom has so much energy? Like, say a week before she passed, why do you think she had that burst of energy at that time?
There's something called the surge.
Okay.
Again, it's not one of those documented or proven things, but sometimes patients may not respond for like days, like they're just asleep, and then they'll have a day or two where
Mm.
they're with it. They're eating and they're doing this. They're engaging, and sometimes that throws off family members. They're like, oh,
They're coming back.
they're coming back.
Right. Wow, man.
And in my profession, I like, not to discourage anything, but like, I'd like to tell you about this. Like, it could be this, or maybe it's not. Um, I think my biggest scare, my first scare I had was I had taken my mom to the bathroom,
Mm.
and while she's on the bathroom, she just loses consciousness, and I'm like,
You have to hold her, prop her up.
they had to pop her up. I'm checking for pulses. I'm like, she's not. So like,
Wow. She knows a pulse. So that's a pulse.
no, it was very
Yeah.
deep,
Right.
and he kind of started gurgling a little bit. So I'm like, call 911. Uh, so my mom, I never put my mom on hospice for the simple fact of like I was a hospice nurse. My wife's, I think she had already earned her doctorates in nursing.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe there could be someone that can.
We're professionals already. We're professionals already.
But I knew that I would, the visits that my mom would receive from hospice. I'm like, I'm here every day. I'm gonna bathe you every day. I'm gonna do these things. So that's why I didn't put her on hospice. But she was under the care of a physician who made house calls. So it wasn't like she was without any outside professional care. And we discussed hospice. We talked about certain things. And after we discussed, and like, okay, this is the situation in the home. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I was like, so I mean, I know generally speaking, in reality, you took care of your mom, but that's a lot, man. Think about it. Your mom, the one who brought you into the world,
mhm,
you know, you took care of her in her life, and you bathed her.
yeah.
Again, when you talk, I'm trying to put myself in that story. That is this normal to you to have done that? I mean, do you think anything of it?
It was normal when I was taking care of someone that wasn't related to me. I'm like, you're gonna,
That was normal, you said?
yeah.
Okay.
But again, you think about it's your it's your mom,
That makes it even tougher, then.
and because you're,
Yeah, you love her, man. What's going on here?
I know.
Why she been taken from me? Those my what's in sense of your mind?
That I didn't. I think the only reason that didn't happen because, like I said, my mom was 96. I
I
exactly
I
expect
get
her to live to be 90.
I get that. I
Yeah.
understand
But what was initially difficult was, when she could no longer bathe herself, or she could no longer properly clean herself after having the bathroom. Um, I do that for my son. I've done it with other patients, but again, like this is my mom. I
that.
shouldn't be, like I
That's
shouldn't
all.
be
So,
doing
of
it.
course, that's what I was thinking. Like, how do
Yeah,
you
that
deal
little
with that, man?
modesty thing.
Right.
But I think it got to the point where it probably didn't matter. I don't think it was something my mom was considering.
No, she wasn't.
No.
I'm saying you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mom not. No, she's not thinking
No. But
about that.
so she's on the toilet. She kind of passes out. I'm trying to revive her like a sternum rub and things like that. She just doesn't respond. So we call 911 paramedics. And just be just before they came into the house, uh, she did this all the time. She yawned, she would sneeze, and then she'd come back like, and she'd give me like this big smile, like, "Hey, son."
Wow.
Like, I'm like, you know what you just did to me? Like, dude, and but then that started happening more frequently. I think it's
Wow.
the orthostatic hypertension, like her blood pressure was just low.
That's right.
Sometimes when you're using the bathroom, there's a vagus nerve and it presses against other things. Then it can cause you to lose consciousness.
Wow.
But then it started happening so frequently. I just developed, and it was a coping mechanism. I just developed in my head, like, this is how it's going to end.
Wow.
It's going to end with, with my mom on the toilet. Um, but that wasn't the case. Lots of good moments.
Wow.
She loved her chicken soup. She'd want tea.
Ice cream, right?
Yeah, ice cream. And then she's like, Clifton? I'm like, yes, mom. I'd like some cold, cold water.
Wow.
Like, well, what if it's just cold? She's like, cold, cold. Um, so I have fond memories the last 3 months, even the last 2 weeks. Grateful that my cousin came out. Um, and so like her last week, so we contacted family and they got to talk to her, and I think that was their last memory of her.
Mm.
And she like fell asleep. I think it was like a Sunday or a Monday,
Mm.
and she didn't wake up. I mean, she's breathing and doing all those things, but she wasn't eating. Uh, I couldn't get her to take fluids. So every morning, go in, bathe her, change her clothes if she needed to be changed, whatever she needed. So this is like a Thursday, just doing the routine.
Mm.
And when I rolled her back on her side to her back, she opens her eyes, that same smile.
Mm.
How you doing?
Mm.
Uh, I'm good, but you realize you've been asleep since like Monday,
What?
and
And it's Sunday. What?
and it's Thursday, yeah.
Sleeping 5 days.
Yeah. So I'm like, you want anything?
Oh man.
I'd like some ice cream. I got
Oh
you. I got you. Ice cream and then like milkshakes. And so, and chicken noodle soup. So one day I got her to eat like chicken noodle soup,
man.
ice cream. She had fluid like doing that last week. And and she's like sucking this milkshake down like nobody's business. And I'm like, Mom, but you're gonna get a brain freeze. He was like, and brain freeze, brain freeze. Um, I spend a lot more time together. And as I mentioned with my son, when he was much healthier, he loved to get into the bed with her. He jump in the bed and he steal her covers, or she's like, you know, uh you're dirty. So go and rescue her. But then like that last week when he would get in the bed, much different demeanor. He'd get in the bed, he was a lot more gentle. He wouldn't steal her covers, but he'd cover himself up as well and get like as close as he could to her.
Oh.
During like the final 72 hours, I would just sit in the room with her, and I brought in a chair because he liked to come inside and sit. I don't know if he was checking on me, checking on grandma, or both, but he'd come and sit 30 minutes or so. He'd leave, he'd eventually come back. So on the day that my mom passed away, I was like, I, I think this is the day. So the family came in. We kind of talked about it just to see how everyone felt. And I was on the phone talking to my cousin, who's a pastor,
Mhm.
and I'd mentioned like, hey, I think today is the day,
Mhm.
and I'd like you to preside over the services.
Mhm.
Again, not that it's proven, but it's happened enough times where I've seen members who are in their final stages before they transition.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes when like the family leaves or their wife goes off, they use the bathroom, get some more just to, let me kind of take a break.
Right.
They pass away.
Let me exhale, right?
Yeah.
Exhale is
So I know this, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm having this conversation with my cousin. It's a bit of a relief just to talk to him. Now, this particular cousin, it seems he always called at the right time, no matter what I was going through. If it was with my son, what have you, and he was my sounding board. And I'm talking to him. We're kind of laughing about some things, and I step out of the room, and I walk back in, and the first thing I said is like, "She's gone."
the
There's
first
like,
thing you
there's no question, like she's gone.
said.
So he's like, okay, um, I'll call you back. So
Mm.
no, even when someone passes away, even if you're certain that they are, you still check the pulse or heartbeat,
Wow.
and
Mm.
I think that was I knew that she was gone, but it's like, no, excuse me,
Should we
there's something about putting that stethoscope on her chest, and
what
knowing that I wasn't gonna hear anything. That was that was hard. And but I'm still listening. Still listening. So, physiologically, everything indicated that he transitioned. Um, so called my family and I let them know. Um, Kind of said their goodbyes, and I just got right down to business as far as you know getting her cleaned up, changing her into something else um, and just bathing her, and the things that I've done before with patients. But again, it's like it's my mom, and
Oh man.
it's asking like, "Do you want any help?" I'm like, "No,
Oh
I
really?
need to. I need to do this for
That need to be my job.
yeah. I just need to. I need to do this for me." But it made me think, and over the mom declined. You know, obviously I'm her son, and I'm caring for her, and we have mom dad conversations. But then there's also times like I flip into nurse mode, and I don't know. I wonder sometimes how much of my mom got of me
It's her son, right?
versus nurse Clifton.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so you know, um, even then, everything was still kind of technical. Um, they contacted the gentleman in the mortuary service that uh, I knew from some of my patients had used him, and I had talked to him earlier in the day. And so I called him and let him know. Contacted law enforcement. I'm like, hey, I'm calling to report a natural death. And they're just like, well, how do you know it's natural? And kind of, kind of explained it. Um, so they came and did what they had to do. The gentleman from the mortuary service came, um, and took my mom away. And it just seemed so by the numbers. Like I was heartbroken. Um, but it's like, okay, this needs to be done. And then, kind of afterwards,
Talk,
give my time.
talk about that afterwards. Yeah, because again, I don't know the science behind it, but typically, I know when people go through like a stressful moment, they step up to the plate and they don't realize that they're have all this you know, enthusiasm and energy to handle the stress, the stressor. But then when that stress is over, that's when they kind of then they realize what just took place. What is that called? And then how did you deal with that once your mom was taken away? How did you handle that?
I think it's still, I think I went from the mode of like, okay, so this portion is done. My mom's transition and her remains have been secured. I know where they're going. It's like, okay, I need to contact people to let them know. I need to start making arrangements for services and things of that nature. Oddly enough, about a year before my mom had passed away, and it's like this is one of those days where she was with it, and we just had this conversation. I was like, how do you feel? Like, when you transition, it's like I know you want to um have your remains buried beside dad. We have a family plot um at our family church, and she's like, yes, I would. I was like, how do you feel about burial versus cremation? And she said that didn't really matter to her. Said, but what mattered to her was she didn't want me to observe her suffering. She's like, I don't think that's fair to you.
Wow.
And you shouldn't have to go through that.
Mm.
But in my head it's like, I mean that
Yeah, I'm here for you.
I'm here. Like if that's what's gonna happen. I think at the time I felt who's better prepared than me to deal with this? And at a time where I felt I understood a lot about death and dying, at least the technical portions about it, because I've been doing it for a while. Um, my mom challenged so so many of those beliefs or the knowledge that I felt that I had, because if she has the surges, um, she surprised me on so many occasions. Um, I just kind of cherish those additional moments.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. First question would be, somebody sleeps like for days at a time. Like, like I don't personally know anybody who ever slept for like 5 days in a row and not be pronounced dead or unconscious or you know, not hospice but ICU type thing. So is that possible? Somebody can sleep 5 days straight?
Even longer. Sometimes, a person's like, in terms relating to hospice, their hospice diagnosis may have nothing to do with, say, their heart. They could have an extremely strong heart,
Hmm.
um, and they can fall asleep and live beyond that. So, like, their pulse ox could be good, their pulse, even their blood pressure in some cases.
Hmm.
Um, I had a gentleman who was a patient of mine. I went to see. I got a call from his family, and they're like, our dad isn't doing well. So I go in and I assess him, and all the vital signs that you were looked for were in the negative. And I had explained to them, like, this is probably a good time for you to contact family
Oh wow.
and things of that nature.
Mm.
Um, O2 sats were low. I did a few minor things that raised his O2 sats, but not enough to make a difference. But like he was comfortable.
Hmm.
Uh, what I witnessed, and I'd say what I witnessed for a reason.
Mm.
His daughter sat on the bed with him
Wow.
and held his hand. And he was unresponsive. In terms of he wasn't waking up, but he was still alive. And she held his hand and she just prayed. She prayed. She probably prayed for about an hour.
Wow. Wow.
Um, what I witnessed in that hour were almost a complete reversal in his vital signs.
You checked the vitals and you
Yeah,
saw that it was
I'm watching it because I still had some of my equipment on, like, oh, this,
mm,
this is improving.
mm-hmm.
Oh, it's improving some more.
Mm.
And then I'm just like, well, so I had already contacted my medical director. I'm like, hey, I'm calling about this gentleman, and he's in this phase of dying. He's like, okay. So let him know what we had done. Parents contacted. Called him a little bit later. He's like, how is Mr. So and so? Said, I don't really know what to tell you. He's like, well, we have what's called a pre-active phase and an active phase. He's like, well,
Mm.
is he still active?
Mm.
I said, an hour ago, I'd have told you absolutely. Right now, I really don't know what to tell you because these are his vital signs.
Mm.
And it's not because of anything I did other than like this one thing. Like, but let me tell you what his daughter did. And that gentleman went on to live for like 2 additional weeks.
Wow.
But that particular day, anyone who would ask me like, "How's your day?" Like, let me tell you about my day. Let me tell you what I witnessed.
So do you think it was just the daughter praying? You think his vitals improved, or I'm gonna say he said I'm gonna say it's kind of I'm gonna say did he just wake up? Okay, did he just wake up because his daughter, his loved one was there holding his hand? He felt warm and loved, or do you think it was something more supernatural involved there?
I would have to say, based on what I witnessed, I think they were Buddhist,
Mm.
but like I think it was absolutely a divine intervention.
Amen. That's fantastic. I do too. It sounds like it to me. You know, prayer work. I got another question for you. So again, sleeping for multiple days in a row, it sounds like it's normal.
It
Just
definitely can happen.
for somebody that's not on their in a life or on their deathbed. It could just be a teenage kid. Can a teenager sleep for like 5, 6 days without getting up, eating, and using the restroom? Or just a person that's at home?
Just like a normal teen type of sickness or anything.
Yeah, just a kid or an adult just at home sleeping.
I haven't experienced that, but I would say if it was my normal teen
Yeah,
that doesn't have any health
yeah,
issues, uh, within 24 hours, but no longer than 36,
yeah.
I'm trying to. I mean, if I can't get you up,
Oh yeah.
I'm taking you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not allowing that to happen. First of all, I mean, my kids, I don't think they ever slept past noon. At least around me, I don't. You gotta get. You got to get up to be up, man. You're not just sleeping past.
I'm thinking in a case like that. I'm thinking like there's something wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Also another quick question. Again, it's for the audience as well, because when you're sharing your story. First of all, thanks for sharing. Um, you know, my mom passed overnight. Like I didn't get a chance to do any of what you're talking about. Uh, And then in my head, I'm thinking, well, man, like, would I prefer quick overnight death or prolonged type death from somebody that I love? Like, I know that's a weird question to ask, um, but that's something to think about. You don't have to answer it. It's just something to think about because, prolonged, you're there with him, still you have more time. But at the same time, there's other things that goes along with it, like burnout and being overwhelmed, and just stuff that goes along with taking care of your family. But then again, if it's a sudden death, then man, you didn't have time to really did you resolve anything? Like it just all of a sudden it's a shock. You didn't know what's coming, and there's things that goes along with that as well. You know.
Um, I've experienced both. Um, when my dad passed, it was someone like that.
Oh.
I was actually supposed to go home that weekend. Um, because my parents had just celebrated a wedding anniversary, and there was a mix-up between myself and one of my supervisors. I didn't know that I didn't have coverage so that I could leave, and I didn't know that he was going to cover for me.
Mm.
So I had gone to work, and and then found out I was like, oh, okay, we can go home.
Right.
And the day before my dad passed away, years ago, he had like a quadruple bypass that had complications, and they had to go back in and do surgery. But during that time period, when he was in ICU and on the vent, his vocal cords were damaged. So from that point on, anytime I talked to him, his voice was hoarse. And anytime that my dad wanted to talk to me, he'd always tell my mom, "Give Clifton a call."
That's it.
So on this particular day, I answered the phone, and it's him. I almost don't recognize him because he's not hoarse.
Oh wow. Oh.
And and we talked, and had a good time. Like always, not expecting the next day to get the news that he had passed away, but passed away from congestive heart failure. But I believe that my mom and him are fairly inseparable. Like typically, if you've seen one, you've seen the other. And I guess they had a good week, and they had hung out the day before doing different things. And although my mom never told me this, one of my cousins had mentioned it, and I can't validate it, but I have no reason to believe that he would, lead me on. That I guess on the ride to the hospital, uh, he was trying to tell my mom something but couldn't. And I guess my mom said that she knew that he wasn't going to make it. So I don't.
It sounds right. They've been inseparable since 19. I mean, since they're 15, right? You told me. Jeez, man.
So the the crazy part, my mom comes home, so she's dealing with the loss of her husband,
Mm.
the family dog had died as well.
Same day.
Same day. Same day.
Why do you think the dog passed? Like, yeah. I mean,
We don't know it.
yeah.
That's just something that's been crazy. Companionship.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
Yeah. It was just like, man, that's nuts. And that took a toll on my mom.
sure did.
Um, so again, I find out the news about my dad, and I'm back into that mode of what do I need to do? I probably cried maybe like 3 minutes, and then it's like, okay, I need to get home. I need to get to my mom, and I need to start making these arrangements. Yeah. And that's what it was. And my mom had taken it so hard. So we're having a conversation, and and that's when I'm like, how's she doing? It's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then she's like, why isn't your dad helping me? Doesn't he know that I'm dead?
Oh, I see.
And I don't have a response. I wasn't a nurse at the time. And and then, maybe 30 minutes later, is your dad here?
How old was your mom at this time?
So she had to be 71
I see.
and was 28. I wasn't 30.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know what that. No, in my relationship with my dad, like I didn't have anything left like unsaid.
Right. Right.
And, but then watching my mom, although now I'm in a much better place I was than when my dad passed away with my knowledge and understanding and how I can better help. I don't know what's better. I had a classmate at the time that my dad passed away. Her father was dying of brain cancer. So he's fully alert.
Mm.
He's, he's in a hospital bed, but he can't communicate.
Mm.
I'm sure he can. I'm sure he could probably still hear, but he can't communicate. So I'm like, I don't know. At least I was still able to correspond with my mom. I don't know how that must have felt, or some of the patients that I've had, and you don't know when you go into the hospital that day, you don't know what you're gonna get, or you're spending the night. Like, okay, if you take a couple of G's,
what's going to happen when we wake up, right? Whew.
But
Okay.
there have been some amazing friendships and bonds that were created through us.
Okay. We're going to cut it right there.
Back to dignity, that's the call of the day. Where purpose hits different and hope finds its way. Investing in people and helping folks win at life. Turning struggle into power, turning pressure into light. Pull back the curtain, let the real ones speak. Truth in the stories that we drop each week. From the front line hustle to the heart chat. The backstage podcast is where it's at. When the world gets heavy, come and take your seat. Where the mission is strong and the message is deep. Back to dignity. We're on that path, so step in the circle where the truth feels right. Where the grit meets the grace and the dark finds the light. If you're seeking direction, we can help with that. Yeah, the backstage movement keeps you coming back. Pull back the curtain, let the real ones speak.
Pull back the curtain, let the real ones speak. Truth in the stories that we drop each week. From the front line hustle to the heart chat. The backstage podcast is where it's at. So take me back to dignity. Where we rise up strong and we walk with peace. If you're looking for the soul